It is time for everyone to watch a horror movie again. Today, the story is about a French horror film called Dead Color. She is the daughter of a famous dancer. Although she lives in a villa since childhood, her daily life is worse than a dog's. In the morning, before the rooster wakes up, her strict mother pulls her up to practice dancing. Under this daily high-pressure environment, Anna's soul is already extracted, and her eyes are hollow. She moves her dance steps like a machine, following the commands. Even though her daughter is already incapacitated, the mother still maintains an indifferent attitude. She even used her hands and feet to manipulate her daughter like a puppet. Because she is too serious, the mother completely forgets that the person opposite her is a human being.
Encore! Encore!
Until a crisp sound of bone cracking is heard. Only then does she realize what she has done. She calls out with a trembling voice. But Anna is now unable to move and becomes completely disabled. However, this mother is a fanatic. Not only does she not repent, she even modifies all the joints on her daughter's body and attaches them to a music box. Every time it starts, she can dance gracefully to the music again. Time flies, and Deborah lives for another 50 years. But she is already shriveled beyond recognition. It is said that she has become a vegetable. Now, she can only rely on cold machines to sustain her life. The world of the wealthy always has people coming and going. The caregivers who come to look after her make many trips every day. Lucy is one of these caregivers. On this day, she comes to Deborah's home, introduced by the manager Catherine. She is already familiar with all the procedures. However, what surprises Lucy is why a person in a vegetative state still needs a blood transfusion. Regarding this, Catherine does not say anything, and incidentally snaps back at Lucy, saying she is not a doctor and asks who Lucy expects her to ask. However, what she knows is that Deborah is very wealthy. Rumor has it that a treasure is hidden in her home, among other things. Hearing this, Lucy gets a bit excited. She stares at the key on Deborah's chest and falls into deep thought. After getting off work, Lucy comes to the beach and smokes a cigarette. Before long, her boyfriend William returns from fishing at sea. The young couple, not having seen each other for many days, are very excited. While chattering, they also talk about work. William claims the sea has been very rough these past few days. It almost costs him his life, and he does not want to fish anymore. Coincidentally, during their conversation, William learns about Deborah and the treasure. He immediately gets pumped up and insists on going to Deborah's home to search. At this moment, Ben, who works as a waiter at the bar, also comes to join the fun and show support. The two groups disagree, making Lucy angrily leave. At this moment, the camera turns to the daytime manager Catherine. One sees her constantly messing with something in the bathroom. All around, there are splashes of blood everywhere. As the camera gradually gets closer, a blood bag hangs over the bathtub, and a girl's physical vessel. However, shortly after, Lucy changes her mind again, and she and William rush to Deborah's mansion. Her mother passed away 8 months ago. Just upon returning home, she learns her father has a new lover, who he plans to bring home to live with them next week. Unable to accept this, Lucy considers moving out and urgently needs money. But if they take money, they must do the job. As for Ben, he is merely bored and comes along for fun. He also the first to discover the only window not sealed shut with sheet metal. The three of them enter the cluttered basement through the opening. Soon, they arrive at the mansion's main hall. Just as Ben jokes about how dark it is and asks if they should turn on the lights, he suddenly sees something and is greatly startled.
Très bonne idée ça. Pas qu'on appelle les flics aussi?
The three of them immediately freeze. Fortunately, Deborah is in a vegetative state and generally cannot be woken by noise. What startled them is a snarling stuffed wolf. Not only that, the room also displays many objects with animal faces and human bodies. It seems that Deborah has a special obsession with taxidermy. Soon, William thoroughly searches everywhere and discovers that only the double doors in front of them are locked. He concludes that the treasure is hidden inside. Lucy also recalls the key she saw earlier in the day. The three of them stealthily sneak into Deborah's bedroom. The surroundings immediately become eerily quiet. They can only hear Deborah's heavy breathing. The atmosphere is heavy and suffocating. Under such circumstances, Lucy nervously reaches out her hand. Fortunately, she gets the key without any trouble. However, the key does not fit into the keyhole. Ben and William, in a hurry, forcefully crash the door open. But there is no treasure inside. Instead, it is a human-shaped object covered with white gauze. When William tears it open, he discovers that this thing is Anna, who has been made into a music box. Her entire face is sewn up by her mother with needle and thread, making her look neither human nor ghost. They wonder what this is, because Catherine mentioned it to her. Lucy quickly guesses that this must be Deborah's daughter, who died young. She guesses that Anna must be the rumored treasure. And immediately below, there is a corresponding keyhole, which proves Lucy's idea. After turning the key 2.5 times, Anna on the music box starts spinning with the music. Seeing that the treasure they are looking for is this thing, William, enraged, throws a punch, hitting Anna's physical vessel. The room, which was just lit, instantly plunges into darkness. They do not understand if the physical vessel is angry, but they soon hear a creaking sound coming from the ceiling. The group hurriedly rushes down the stairs and turns back towards the way they came. But they discover that the window leading to the basement has already been mysteriously sealed with steel bars. Ben shouts loudly, regretting that his playfulness led him to this cursed place. Fortunately, Lucy remembers something from her blood transfusion during the day. A window by Deborah's bed is open and unlocked. The three people hurriedly turn back. They are surprised to find that the vegetative Deborah is gone from the bed. The white bedsheets are covered in bloodstains. With Deborah gone, the three people grow increasingly scared the more they think about it. When they run to that window, it is also welded shut. While the two people are busily fiddling with it, Ben behind them discovers something. He comes to a mirror. At the same time, Deborah, wearing an oxygen mask, appears behind Ben. He seems to have triggered a mechanism and immediately arrives in a secret room filled with medical equipment. Inside, a large number of specimens soaked in formalin are displayed. Among them, some jars even contain fetuses. While Ben is observing carefully, suddenly something flashes past behind him. The sound of a girl's laughter constantly comes. A sharp blade suddenly stabs into Ben's thigh. 3 girls in white dresses surprisingly appear in the secret room. Although they seem alive, in reality, they have been made into dolls. They unhesitatingly carry their heads and abruptly eliminate Ben with one knife. On the other side, upon discovering Ben's disappearance, the two search everywhere in the villa and unknowingly separate. Lucy first arrives at Anna's room. Strange masks are displayed everywhere around. She fumbles in the dark in the wardrobe and discovers a blood-stained ballet dress. Just as she thinks of something, a sound suddenly comes from behind her. The humanoid specimens across the room all turn to look in her direction. Lucy not only feels no fear but also steps forward and takes a seat. Across from her sits the missing Deborah. Deborah slowly extends her hands without malice. Lucy also places her hand on Deborah's. In an instant, scenes from the house's past flash through her mind. She sees that Deborah was a dance instructor in her youth. Many girls come to her house to practice ballet. However, she is exceptionally strict and has a terrible temper. When she sees one girl dancing poorly, she tells her to get lost.
Ophélie, tu fais n'importe quoi. Sors de la salle. Vite!
The girl reluctantly returns to the changing room with a dejected expression. However, she bumps into Anna there. Anna reveals a sinister smile. Soon after, everyone in the dance studio hears a scream. The mother realizes something and orders everyone to pack up and go home. Then she runs to her daughter's room, pushes open the door, and sees an extremely bloody scene. She also sees the dejected girl, who is now dead, having been bitten by Anna and turned into food. It turns out that the mother and daughter are actually vampires. Anna constantly wants to leave the mansion and see the outside world. She believes her mother's eccentricities restrict her. But when she looks around and runs into the sunlight, her body immediately cannot bear it and begins to rot from the exposure. to prevent Anna from causing trouble and to make her focus on dancing. Her mother, in a fit of rage, breaks her spine.
Encore! Encore!
Afterwards, she maniacally installs parts inside Anna, turning her into a dancing music box. This way, she can make her daughter dance anytime and also keep her firmly confined to the mansion. It is simply the best of both worlds. Just then, Lucy wakes up to William's scream. When she opens her eyes, Deborah, who was across from her, has disappeared. She wants to go out, but the door is firmly locked. Meanwhile, her boyfriend William is attacked by the vampire Deborah. She immediately fatally consumed William's skull and begins to feast. At the same time, Lucy, who is knocking on the door, discovers the doll is dancing again. Then it suddenly looks up and starts moving towards her. Perhaps because the doll's eyes are sewn shut, it seems unable to find Lucy's location. Seeing this, it immediately drops its head as if out of power, which makes Lucy curiously step forward to look. Suddenly, the doll raises its hand. After tackling Lucy, it violently punches her with both hands. Perhaps Anna mistakes Lucy for her own mother. But before Lucy can recover, the former caretaker Catherine rushes over. She injects a sedative into Lucy's stomach. It turns out Catherine was formerly Deborah's student. Driven by curiosity, she witnesses Anna's spine being broken. But Deborah does not kill Catherine. Instead, she keeps her by her side to assist her. In order for Anna to be reborn, Deborah seeks a new body for her daughter's soul exchange. Lucy wakes up and finds herself tightly bound. She grimaces in fear, because at this moment, Deborah's fingernails are slowly surgically altering Lucy's belly. She then stuffs some silkworm pupae into it. She stuffs another one into the doll daughter's mouth. This seems to be some kind of ritual, as the silkworm pupae hatch into butterflies and fly towards each other. This also signifies that the two souls have completed their exchange. As Deborah looks at her reborn daughter in front of her, her desire for control surges again. She imperiously orders Anna to dance quickly, as usual. But Anna, with a backhand scissor cut, dispatches Catherine behind her. Then, with another knife, she stabs her mother in the neck. It turns out that the two souls did not successfully exchange just now. Because Lucy has rare congenital heterochromia, it is said that such people can carry two souls in their bodies. And the other soul within Lucy is her unfortunately deceased mother. Everything that just happened was also Lucy's mother protecting her from disaster. Now, the mother's soul is transferred into the doll's body. At this moment, the doll's eyes also turn into rare heterochromatic eyes. It turns out that the mother never left. Instead, she protects Lucy in an invisible form. The mother and daughter cling tightly to each other. Lucy also feels her mother's companionship once again. At the end of the story, Lucy, led by the doll, arrives at the cliff edge. As a few seabirds fly past, the doll, with dull eyes, falls straight down, carrying Lucy's mother and her love for Lucy. Two souls float in the air and finally drift to heaven. They are finally free from all obsessions. Thus, the entire story ends.